I was not expecting that. Donald Trump found guilty on all counts. So many reactions. Number one, Trump's opposition aren't idiots, right? They've been highly effective in hamstringing him from accomplishing what he wants to accomplish. And the Russiagate, right? The claim that there was some unprecedented level of cooperation between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin and Russia to co-opt the American electoral system and to interfere in American politics. It was the number one story in the country between January 2016 until the release of the Mueller report in 2019. And as far as its effectiveness at hamstringing Trump and his agenda, it was highly effective. And it doesn't matter that it wasn't based on substance. It was just a very effective tool at reducing the effectiveness of Donald Trump. So too, this criminal conviction of Donald Trump is now a convicted felon. On the face of it, seems very effective way of reducing Trump's abilities to campaign for president of the United States. So I'm primarily interested in raw power. I'm not primarily interested in the legality or the ethics of what either side has done here. I'm interested primarily in the exercise of raw power, and the Democrats seem quite effective at exercising power to convict Donald Trump of a felony on completely unprecedented legal terms. But it just shows how effective they are, just as they put through many changes to the electoral system prior to the 2020 presidential election, and they were more effective in that regard than the Republicans. And so that's a large reason the Democrats won the presidential election in November of 2020, because they were simply more effective at working the system and changing the system, adapting the system, like passing new legislation to make it easier to vote by mail, getting funds to turn out the vote in Democratic strongholds. So the Republicans lost in 2020 because the Democrats simply played the game better. And in 2022, Republicans did much worse than expected in the midterm elections because the Democrats again just played the game better. And now, on the face of it, it looks like the Democrats have played the game better. They've got Donald Trump as a convicted felon. Who knows, could very well be sentenced to prison. They are playing the game more effectively. Now, eventually, those with some niche advantage, right, they have to deal with new competition that incorporates the advantages that the first movers developed. So the Democrats are the first movers in pushing forward 2020 election voting law changes, and they've been the first movers in pushing forward this prosecution of Donald Trump. And so now we'll see if the Republicans can learn from that and overcome the first mover advantage that the Democrats have consistently wielded over the past few years. So Russiagate was the number one news story in America for almost 3 years without needing truth behind it. Sure, many of the elementary details were true, but the upshot of the allegations that Russia corrupted, perverted our electoral system to such an extent that Russia put Donald Trump in office in 2016. That was bogus. And there was never any evidence that Donald Trump worked actively with the Russians to corrupt America's political system. But the strategy was highly effective at reducing Donald Trump's effectiveness. And now Donald Trump gets increasingly tied up in trials, and he'll get tied up with the consequences of this felony conviction. And right now it looks like a very effective strategy the Democrats are using. It reminds me of Bill Belichick's teams, particularly when they played Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts, right? They'd instruct their defense, particularly the defensive backfield, to just assault the opposing team's receivers on the theory that in a big game, the referee's not going to want to throw a pass interference flag on every down. And so New England Patriots won their first Super Bowl against the Los Angeles Rams by routinely assaulting the key Rams running back, who was the key to the whole Los Angeles offense. And they just brutalized him and tackled him and made him a non-factor in the game because they figured that the refs likely wouldn't want to throw a flag on every play. And then to keep Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts under control, again, Bill Belichick and the Patriots would press every advantage. Right? They would instruct their defense to manhandle the Colt receivers on the theory that Indianapolis wouldn't be able to fight back effectively. So Democrats have pushed forward electoral changes to make it easier for their voters to get out to vote, thinking that this would be the way to electoral advantage. And now they've pushed forward the legal system to successfully prosecute and convict Donald Trump of 34 felonies. So the Democrats definitely have the first mover advantage, and the Patriots won a lot of Super Bowls. And they apparently tape recorded illegally opposing sideline signals to the defense and to the offense, and perhaps even did other shenanigans, pushing the law to the limit in the pursuit of victory. And it seems to be a good... So it's not like the Democrats are doing this to every Republican, right? It's only Donald Trump who is encountering this level of prosecution. So to a large extent, Donald Trump has brought this on himself through his own reckless behavior. Right? This isn't just Mr. Smith Trump goes to Washington and the forces of darkness are trying to bring him down. No. Donald Trump did a lot of very dubious things that then fired up the opposition, and they had so much to work with to reduce him to the state he's in now, where he's just facing trial after trial after trial. Right? These trials aren't based on absolutely nothing. Right? They're based on Donald Trump's long history of dodgy behavior. Right? For the course of his adult life, Donald Trump has managed to stay just one step ahead of the sheriff. And most of us would be exhausted by the kind of tension and pressure and risk of social ostracism that comes with this risky approach. Somehow for Donald Trump, he's been able to pull it off with a lot of losses, but also a lot of victories. So I can see why his supporters look at the guy as the most courageous American politician in memory.